Hey everybody, Super Strider here, and I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of a tech video this time. This is not something I normally do, but this is something that just came into my possession, and well, you're looking at it. I have here a really old computer tower as far as I know, it's a Windows XP machine. It's a Dell, and from looking, sorry, you just saw my finger. From looking online, I asked Darish Fire on Twitter so he can help me identify this model. From what I can tell, this is a Dell Omniplex GTX 270. When I googled that model name, this is the type of case that came up. So yeah, this came into my possession from one of the properties my landlord owns. The previous tenants are moved out, and it had to be cleaned out for whatever was left behind. And the carpets are being replaced in there. And this was one of the items that was left behind. The reason I'm doing this is I've already popped off the outer case, which is like right over here. Which the lighting on this thing sucks, and I don't have good lighting in here, so sorry. I don't have my lamp out so I can just show you. I just have the regular flashlight attached to this just to show you everything. But the reason I'm talking about this is an irregular case, which is why I had to look this up to begin with, and I have the instructions on how to pop this thing off. Anyway, or on the back of the system, and I have not even tested to see if this thing works. You know why? Well, judging by look at the intake fan and how dirty that is. That's for the the cooling fan for the power supply. I want to open this up to clean it out, and then decide to plug it in and to see if it works. So that's what we're going to do today. And to be honest, with this, it's obvious that the previous owners did not know that you're supposed to clean this out on a regular basis, so they left it untouched. And yeah, I may end up turning this, if it does work, I may end up wiping the hard drive and turning this into a Linux machine. So I'm going to cut away. I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to show you the inside once I get it open. I just popped the bottom off, and already, look at that. Yeah, this thing has not been cleaned. And just the bottom by itself, and it's getting some nasty stuff on my floor because of it. I'm going to cut back to this once I actually get the proper thing open. Okay, I got the thing open. As you can see, it's built on a hinge. And I'm going to be blowing this out outside because, well, look at all that. You can see where these are where the disk drives are. There's the hard drive. Here are the two disk drives. I believe this top one's DVD, the other one's a CDRW. There's the RAM sticks. The motherboard looks fairly in good condition, though I have not plugged this in, so I don't know if this thing functions. It probably is. It probably does, and there's an extra thing so you can install an additional hard drive as a slave. But yeah, I'm going to bring this outside to clean this thing out, because I am not getting this stuff all over my floor, because it's just going to drive my allergies insane. And then I got to figure out how to get to the power supply and the cooling fan to clear those out as well. So once it's cleaned out, I'll come back to this, and then we're going to proceed to the next step. I'm just giving you a good look at what it is. I'm like, people who own actual PCs, you don't be afraid to open them. You're going to have to do this once in a while, especially if you're a power user, or if you're in an area that has pets, or don't smoke around your computer because the tar can get inside from the smoke and ruin the electronics within it. Let's just put it this way: dust on electronics equals very, very bad. And this I'm going to be posting on my Facebook so I can send this to my family members who don't know much about computers as much nearly as I do. There's a reason why they call to me when something goes wrong with their system and I have to fix it. Same with some of my friends too. So, yeah. And I hope to let this be a warning to you. Do not let your computer on the inside get like this. The easiest way to clear this out is just to get a can of compressed air, which you can buy from any type of, like, you can buy it from Walgreens for like a can for like $8. They're not that expensive. And I have a can, and I'm going to clean it out. And the reason why you don't want dust in here is two reasons. One, if it's on the electronics and on transistors and stuff like this, it can create additional electrical points or like electrical contact points, so it could cause your system to short out. Two, it also insulates so that it traps heat in your system. And you don't want excess heat in your computer system because it could actually fry the circuitry in your motherboard and stuff like that and damage it beyond permanently. I've actually lost a computer because of this. This when I was much younger and I didn't know any better. But the computer I lost was just a Windows X, which was an easy machine with a 4 gigabyte hard drive with Windows XP on it. And to be honest, it was a piece of junk anyway. So, yeah. We want to at least salvage this system. And if this doesn't work, I can at least try to salvage some of the parts. But I'm going to cut away now. And I'll show you once I've cleaned this out on how it should look. Okay, we're outside, and I've actually gotten access to the cooling fan. As you can see, probably I'm finagling it as best I could. It is caked in dust, and that is the actual hinge part that directs it from the heatsink. As you can see right there, the heatsink is dirty as well. We're gonna have to get. I have a dry washcloth here that I'm using to rub down some of the more problem areas, gently, mind you. Because, to be honest, I don't have a whole lot of air left in this compressed can. And I'm trying to get as much of the stuff up as well as I can. Again, routine maintenance. Or like just opening up your system once every 2 weeks, or you probably should do it more often than that. I don't know exactly how often you should do it. I should know that, but I'm too lazy to look that up. I'll just edit it in later if I feel like it. But you should open this up every now and then and take the can of compressed air and clear out your system. Now, this is what you're supposed to do with desktops. Laptops are a different story because of the way they're built. It's much harder to actually clear them out. So, we're just stuck with this. You don't want to open up your system and see all this in here. All that dirt, all that dust, because that is bad. That is very bad for your computer. So, sorry, it's just saw my finger again. So we're going to try to clear it out again, or clear out the remaining bit. I got to clean up the cooling, or that's the actual cooling fan. I got to clean up the heat sink. There's a lot of dirt on the wires connecting the cooling fan to the actual motherboard. And then I got to figure out how to get this power supply out to clear it out too, because I'm just looking in the cracks. It's dirty. So I'm probably going to need to clear that out too. Which, by the way, if you do have to open this up, don't touch anything in it. Do not, because that you can seriously get a bad shock, or you may end up electrocuting yourself. Fortunately, we're not. Well, maybe not that. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly how much voltage in it. I don't know if it's enough to kill you or not. I do not know. Or honestly, I do not know off the top of my head. You would have to look that up. But just to be on the safe side, don't touch anything inside it, because you don't want anything bad to happen to you. You also want to clear this up in a dry environment, because of moisture can also damage the circuitry inside, which is why I'm using a dry cloth to wipe out the excess dust. Not anything that's wet. And I'm doing this outside so I don't breathe half this stuff in and it doesn't get everywhere on in my house. Because I don't want to have to clean it up later. Alright. Okay, I got the thing back in. I've cleaned it out mostly. The only thing I couldn't really do much was with the cooling fan on the power supply, which the reason is I ran out of canned air. And I'm going to have to get another can in order to do that. But it should be fine, or at least for this short test. I'm not going to leave this all powered on for any longer than maybe about 10 minutes. As you can see here, this is an old machine. Still uses the original PS2 ports for both the mouse and the keyboard. It can use USB because I can see a lot of USB ports underneath there. But since it has it uses those, and they're easily color coded, and it would just be quicker. We're going to power this thing on and see if it works. I already have it hooked up to the monitor that we also salvaged, which is right here. And there's not going to be any audio, or there's not going to be any noise from this machine, or any actual, because I don't have a speaker hooked up to it. It's the problem with the older systems. Speakers were extra, and I don't know about newer systems. That's probably the same. It's probably the same thing. It's all major system, or computer systems are like that. Alright, we're powering on the monitor. Oh, the monitor's on, so now we're going to test this thing to see if it works. Oh! Dumbass me, I forgot to plug it in. Whoops! Alright, it's powering on. Invalid configuration, performing automatic IDE. Alright. So, obviously, diskette drive seek 0 failure. There's probably an issue with the thing. Alright. So, there is some issues with this machine. And as you can see, this machine was made back in 2003. So, I'm not going to leave this running for very long because with that power supply, and it's a power hog, I can tell, I am not going to let it run up my electricity bill. Well, technically it functions, but there's an issue with the, there's an issue with the system. Oh, okay, there we go. System battery is low. Yeah, the internal battery needs to be replaced, obviously. Strike F1 to run the setup utility. We'll do F1. We'll see if it actually boots, though. The system battery, the internal system battery, which is... Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm already seeing some glitches right there. Holy shit. Holy crap. Methinks the video card in this machine is borked. Well, I'm probably going to have to salvage this for parts. Because, wow! I may try a Linux disk in it to see it could just be the OS maybe corrupted. But, yeah. That's not a good sign. And it's not even loading anything. Alright, I'm going to switch back to it with a Linux disk inside it. So, yeah, I'm going to power this off. Alright, now we're going to try a Linux build. I'm going to use Lucid Puppy for this because it's going to be easy on the system. And let's see if we actually get past, because it would not actually boot into Windows. So, yeah, it's already pretty obvious that this system is on its last legs. So we're going to try to see if we can get it to run. So button computer disk drives, yeah. Alright. As we can see here, sorry, I'm using my cell phone to record what's on the monitor. There is no on-board recording for this system because, like I said, it's on its last legs, and I'm trying my best to keep this steady. And we're going to at least check the specs of this system because I couldn't tell exactly how much RAM, how big the hard drive is, or anything like that. I would rather load it up with Ubuntu or Lubuntu, but I don't have those actually on disks. And to be honest, with this system in this in this condition, I don't want to copy it to a flash drive. I may have to do that if Lubuntu does not want, or if Lucid Puppy does not want to load up. We're just copying it to the RAM right now. It's taking a while, so the RAM might be going too. I'll stop right here and I'll let you know when it's booted up. Okay, we got it booted into Linux Puppy, so we're actually going to take a look at some of the system. I wish this mouse is a piece of junk. God damn it. Darn it. It's an old mouse, that's why. It's an old PS2 mouse. Alright. So, yeah, we're going to try this. Again, I apologize for the guerrilla style recording. Alright. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to get a better mouse for this real quick. Okay, this is better, though the setup could be better. I'm using a USB mouse now to test this, and okay. Alright, so we're going to take a look at some of the system specs. We're going to take a look at the system. Alright. This is why I don't like a Puppy. I can't actually check to see. I'm like, is there a properties window, help window, and options? Alright. I may have to load this back up with Linux, but at least with the Puppy running, I'm not noticing any artifacts with the video. So, or like with the thing, so it may just be that the internal or like the Windows OS on here is corrupted. So yeah, I'm going to try to open this up with an Ubuntu disk. I'm going to have to look for one real quick. Alright. So I'm going to turn this system off. Power off computer. And I'll be back. Do not save. Session not saved because I don't need it. Alright, I'll be back with when I'm testing with Ubuntu, and then I'll also show you another tool that you should use you should get for your computer to help test with RAM testing. Okay, since I'm waiting for a Lubuntu thing to be created on my laptop, because I'm going to be making one onto an SD card, which has an SD to USB connector. I'm just going to have it boot for that because I tried Ubuntu on this and it doesn't have the right CPU for it, so I'm going to try Lubuntu instead because it's much less resource intensive on the system. So in the meantime, I'm showing you this program, which is titled MemTest, which you can just Google this right now. I believe it's a free program. At least they have a free for personal use version of it. That's the one I got. And what it's designed to do is it's supposed to, you burn it to a CD and then you boot from the CD. And then this loads up. This is basically a tool to diagnose to see if your RAM it functions properly. So it tests all your RAM, uses your CPU and all that stuff. And we're going to see if the RAM in this system is still good. As we can see, it has a very low amount of RAM to begin with. Memory, 767 megabytes. That's because I think I saw 3 sticks in there. So yeah, this machine doesn't have a whole lot of RAM to begin with, so we have to put something in there that's going to be very easy on the system. And well, I'm testing this system right now, and we're going to see if the RAM is good, which this takes a while to run. Usually about, on average, at least on my laptop, takes about, for a single pass to go through all the testing, and maybe about 20 to 40 minutes. And I'm not going to and I am going to resume once it finds something. Okay, I just finished with my running mem test. The RAM at least passed mem testing, so I don't know if it's technically still, or at least it's technically still fully functional. I don't know if it's good or not. I honestly could not tell you because it doesn't give you more diagnostic tools than that. It'll just tell you if the thing is borked or not. So right now we're trying out Lubuntu on this system once it boots up, as you can see here, so that I can actually take a look at the specs of this machine using an actual OS that I'm somewhat familiar with. And Lubuntu is a light version of Ubuntu, and wow! Yeah. Methinks yeah, I'm pretty sure that the video card is indeed going. At least it didn't do this when I booted up Puppy Linux. So, yeah. This machine it's slowly dying. The best we could probably do for this machine is sell it out for parts, and even then, that's being generous. Yeah. We can't even look at the basic specs, or how big the hard drive is, or anything like that, because honestly, the video card is dying, and I don't want to have to buy a replacement for this thing, because honestly, it's not worth it. So, as well as the CMOS battery is nearly dead, which that has to be replaced too, but that's a simple watch battery that you can pull out and swap. But, to be honest, is it really worth it for this machine? So, I'm going to power it off, I'm going to unhook everything from it, and I am unplugging this beast because, well, to be honest, with my opinion, sorry, you saw my finger there again, with my opinion, it's just not worth trying to salvage this thing other than for parts. So I'm probably just going to sell this thing online or whatever. Let me know if you're interested in taking this thing off my hands, because, well, to be honest, this thing is... There's parts of this that work, but other parts of it are non-functional or are borked. And I'm using the term borked because that's a nice way of saying it's screwed. Lubuntu doesn't want to work on this thing, so yeah, only Puppy Linux seems to want to work. Windows doesn't want to boot up. So there's either a hard drive defect or I'm like, I can't even test the hard drive. So I'm powering this thing down now. And I am unplugging this beast. So, alright, I'm going to switch around while that light's bright. I'm going to get in the shower because cleaning that thing out has gotten me dirty. And this machine, it's not worth holding on to it, and that light really is getting in my eyes, so I'm going to direct this away. There's my USB mouse that I plugged into it, which has a weird USB setup on the front of the case. I'm unhooking my there's my SD to USB adapter, which I had Lubuntu installed on, as you can see right there. Yeah, this machine, I'm like, it can be saved, but with my tight budget, it's not really worth it to me. My canned air's out. See? Nothing. I used the last of it trying to clean it out. Yeah, there are parts that need to be replaced, and considering how weak this machine is to begin with, honestly, like I said, it's just really not worth it. Other than to salvage this for functional parts, and even then, you probably won't get if I try to sell this, probably won't get a whole lot out of it, or a whole lot for it. I'm like, parts of it function, This video is proof, but sadly, this machine, in its current condition, it's just not worth. It's just not worth saving. At least now we found that out together. So I'm going to sign off now. I'm going to get ready to render this, edit this up. I'm going to link, or I'll put links in the descriptions to Memtest as well as to Geek Street or Geekstreet.com, which is Lorcat's tech site, where he posts a bunch of different videos on explaining different types of electronics and stuff like that, how to use stuff. That light is in my eyes again. Last video I watched was, or the latest video we watched was he was testing out this, or at the time of this recording, he was testing out this device, which is basically an AC inverter that you plug in from your car to your car, so you have an AC outlet, and it also has USB ports. And he's also working on where he just started a series where he's resurrecting an old Mr. Do arcade board. So that's interesting. And he also goes into teaches you the basics on how to stream, and he's a professional streamer. He actually works for a company for that, so watch his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. This is Super Strider signing off. This was an experimental video. I'll try to figure out how to do better quality next time, but to be honest, this was a first attempt for something like this, so please leave in your comments any suggestions of improvements of how I can do for the setup. Right now I'm recording this with my camera phone because it actually gives out a decent frame rate at a decent resolution. The only problem is lighting about it sucks, other than you turning on the flashlight, which is shining directly in my eyes. This is Super Strider, signing off.